The Cold War, a historical overview. Hello, my name is Eve, and I'm a student from Tec Milenio Las Torres. Today, I am going to talk about the Cold War, an important period in global history that shaped much as the 20th century and continues to influence the world today. General description and important dates of the Cold War. The Cold War was a period of intense rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union, lasting from the late 1940s until the early 1990s. Unlike a traditional war with direct military conflict, it was characterized by political, ideological, and military tension, but no direct large-scale fighting between the two superpowers. The competition played out in many ways, including the arms race, space race, proxy wars, and diplomatic confrontations. Important dates: 1947, start of the Cold War with the Truman Doctrine and the Marshall Plan. 1949, formation of the NATO, solidifying military alliances against the Soviet bloc. 1955, formation of the Warsaw Pact, the Eastern Bloc's response to NATO. 1962, Cuban Missile Crisis, the closest the world came to nuclear war. 1989, fall of the Berlin Wall, symbolizing the collapse of Soviet influence in Western Europe. 1991, dissolution of the Soviet Union, marking the official end of the Cold War. What the term Cold War refers to. The term Cold War refers to the state of political and military tension that existed between the United States and the Soviet Union from the end of World War II until 1991. The rivalry did not lead to direct warfare between the superpowers, hence the term cold, but the conflict shaped global alliances, economics, and military strategies. Economic systems: capitalism versus socialism. Capitalism is an economic system where the means of productions are privately owned, and economic activity is driven by market forces like supply and demand. Individuals are free to pursue personal wealth and investment. The proponent of it was Adam Smith, author of The Wealth of Nations. Then socialism. Socialism is an economic system in which the government of the community controls the means of productions, aiming to distribute wealth more equally among the population. The proponent of it was Karl Marx, co-author of the Communist Manifesto. Now, to understand more about the Cold War, I interviewed Anna, who is 45 years old and is my aunt. Now, here are the questions that I asked to her and the responses that I got. Question: what countries were the world leaders during this period? Response: the two main world leaders during the Cold War were the United States and the Soviet Union. Each led a group of allied nations. The US led the Western Bloc, including countries like the UK, France, and West Germany, while the Soviet Union led the Eastern Bloc, which included countries like East Germany, Poland, and Czechoslovakia. Question: why did countries who were allies during the wars become enemies afterward? Response: during World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union were allies against a common enemy, Nazi Germany. However, after the war ended, the differences in their political ideologies, capitalism and democracy in the West versus communism in the East, created tension. They no longer had a shared goal, and their competing visions for the future of Europe and the world turned them into rivals. Question: where did the Cold War take place? Response: the Cold War wasn't fought on a single battlefield. It was global, with the hotspots in Europe, like Germany and Berlin, as well as in Asia with the Korean and Vietnam Wars. The competition also extended to Africa and Latin America, where both superpowers supported opposing sides in civil wars and conflicts. Question: what opinion did the general public have of the Cold War? Response: many people live in fear of nuclear war, especially during events like the Cuban Missile Crisis. In the West, there was a lot of anti-communist sentiment, and people were worried about the spread of communism. At the same time, people in the Western Bloc were often unhappy with the governments but couldn't express it openly. Question: what type of weapons did the two world's powers have at their disposal? Response: the most feared weapons were nuclear bombs. Both the US and the Soviet Union had large stockpiles of nuclear weapons, and there was a constant fear of a nuclear war breaking out. They also had advanced conventional weapons, missiles, submarines, and airplanes designed for long-range strikes. Personal opinion. In my opinion, the Cold War was a period that reflected the deep ideological divide between capitalism and socialism. The fear of nuclear war and the competition in military and technological advances impacted millions of lives. Even though the Cold War ended, its effects are still visible in current global politics.